podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I spent the day today, half of it, working very hard for anyone at work listening, and for anyone else watching former Director Comey of the FBI, testify about his interactions with Donald Trump. That was entertaining.
Yeah, it all seems completely sane and normal and fine.
Totally legit. You know what was also legit? United winning the Europa League.
Such a long time ago now. But we're sorry that there's not been a podcast before now. It's been an elaborate series of circumstances, which started with, we couldn't do one straight away because one of us decided at the last minute that they were going to go to Stockholm.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision. My bank manager has phoned me up, said, what the... not quite. But I went to Stockholm, sat with two very nice chaps who arranged a ticket for me, right on the halfway line. I don't know what kind of Faustian pact they've got themselves into, but it couldn't have been a better seat.
I saw the pictures that you took, and I was like, wait a minute, these are the exact pictures that we're seeing on television. He must be sitting exactly like at the exact same angle as the.
No, I was just taking pictures of my TV. No, it was good fun. So I, because I did it so late, I had a rather convoluted route. Via Copenhagen on the way out, and via Riga on the way back.
Isn't Riga further away than Stockholm?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, going sort of the wrong way.
This is like the first episode of the season 4 of Silicon Valley, isn't it?
Yeah. But apart from lengthy travel, it was great fun.
So what did you do when you hit Stockholm? What was your first port of call?
Go check in. Then I went to the fan zone. Which was, much like the song, thousands of Reds getting slowly more inebriated throughout the day.
Was there this is kind of a strange question, I guess, but was there a different atmosphere than you would have expected? Obviously, it took on such an intense vibe because of everything that had happened in Manchester just immediately before that felt like... I don't know, it felt like the weight of the world was on United's shoulders in a way. Was there any sense of that before the game among the fans?
I didn't get that sense. No, I wondered whether the atmosphere might be quite subdued, but I don't know. I guess alcohol at 11 or 12 pounds a go still manages to do the job.
I guess there's a certain defiance, isn't there?
There was, of course, there's a certain defiance, and you'll have caught that with many of the songs actually at the ground as well. So for sure. But I don't think it really subdued the atmosphere in the way I wondered whether it might. But it didn't. Everyone was in good spirits. It's a beautiful sunny day. Stockholm's a beautiful city. Everyone's really friendly. They'd arranged a whole street to be cordoned off for the fan zone. It was just a street with people drinking in it, but just in one part of town, right next to the transport to get to the ground. It's a nice ground, bit sterile, as many of these modern grounds are. But it was all very well organised. Couldn't get any transport back out afterwards. I know a few people did, but ended up walking most of the way back into town. But there were a lot of other Reds doing that too. So all in all, great organisation, good atmosphere. I tell you what, the only thing that was really weird, United were given the trophy. No, and I was expecting fireworks, ticker tape, the thing that UEFA do. And there was none of that. I lifted the trophy, all the Ajax players buggered off, and I was like, oh, right, okay. And of course, being where I was sat, I wasn't actually where they were celebrating because they went down to the main United fans section. Although they're all United fans around me, really. But Waited till everyone got off the pitch and then it was like, okay, home then.
That's the first time you've seen United lift a European trophy in person, right?
It is, yeah. I've missed all the others for various reasons, university, work, family, which was a shame really, because there's been some bigger ones than this one. For sure. But in the history of United, have only lifted 5 European trophies. So, there you go.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of, doing this a couple of weeks out is interesting because the details of the match have slightly faded and you get there's a disadvantage to that because we can't, the analysis that we could offer about the specifics of the match, which we will talk about, that becomes slightly less relevant, but you do have a bit of a sense of perspective. It still feels to me like a really big deal that United won the Europa League this season. Obviously, the whole season was poised on it, so it's a big deal in that sense. But even just in and of itself, as an achievement, when you enter a European competition at the beginning of the season, winning it is always a big deal.
Absolutely. And I guess, look, the narrative has changed there a little bit, hasn't it? Because actually at the beginning of the season, I'm not sure Mourinho or definitely the players were really taking it that seriously. Some very poor performances to start the Europa League campaign, felt quite flat, felt like a third choice trophy to go after, but of course it became more and more important and critical by the time the final came around because Mourinho had staked all on it, including taking a very un-United decision to basically play out the last 4 games of the season in a very defensive mindset, trying to rest players. So it became very critical, but it is big. It might be the second-tier European trophy, but not that many teams win European trophies, and United haven't won that many in 140 years of history.
Yeah.
So it is big. For the game was weird because it was ugly, really ugly, and it didn't affect the atmosphere as such because Ajax fans had great voice there. I think they outsung United. So, so it was a good atmosphere, but it was a strange match to watch because United had hardly had any possession. When they did have it, it went really long. It was ugly football. The pass success rate is down in the 60s. They basically used Marouane Fellaini in the only position he's actually any good. And he had a very good game because that's the only position he's any good in. Just bang it long at him in this kind of weird false 9, number 10 position. But it was very, very effective tactics. I have to say, all the tactical stuff we talked about before the game. The one thing I didn't pick was that Mourinho would try and negate the Ajax press by going long. I didn't think that would happen. I was talking about, he should play Carrick in order to outpass Ajax. But he obviously didn't believe that United could do that and negated it in a completely different way.
It's really interesting, the whole kind of how history will look back at the Mourinho gamble. Well, obviously, history, as they say, is written by the winners. So it will look back at the Mourinho gamble as a profoundly successful move in his first season in charge, because in the end, it all paid off. And I guess part of the reason that he was prepared to make that gamble was because of the extent to which he backed himself to win the final. Because Jose Mourinho just does that, doesn't he? He just wins finals. And in the end, United's tactical system worked pretty much to perfection. Like Ajax were, not only was their press negated, but they had 70% of possession in the game, basically, and did hardly anything with it. Like their shot numbers were quite big by the end of the game, but in terms of like effective shots or working dangerous openings, like
this is one of those games where the reality and the data don't seem to match up very well.
Yeah.
17 shots, 3 on target. Well, were they really properly good? No, they barely had any decent chances, except for a couple, right? Tons and tons of possession, and what it looked like was Manchester United 2015-2016 versus Manchester United 2016-2017, didn't it?
Well, they did say there were all these rumours going around that Louis van Gaal had been like helping Peter Bosz with like Man United's weaknesses and tactical help with Ajax's game plan. It did definitely look like that. Marouane Fellaini, you mentioned, had an excellent game. United won a total of 21 aerial duels in that game, of which 14, so 2/3, were won by Marouane Fellaini. Chris Smalling next in the charts with 5, which just shows you the extent to which Lump It Long to Fellaini was the genuine order of the day.
Yeah, it was. And as a result, Rashford had a very poor game. I thought, he barely had the ball. I'm not quite sure how many times he touched it, but I bet it wasn't very many. United just never played it into any of the channels that would use his running until the end, where they started knocking it into the corners and he was just chasing after it. Mata found it hard to get into the game as well. Obviously Mkhitaryan scored, but I don't think he had a great game, honestly, apart from that,
Well, I there was a lot of discussion about Mkhitaryan's performance because basically the general consensus on social media watching it on telly was that the only players that you could say had a bad game in United's side were Rashford and Mkhitaryan, and Mkhitaryan scored a wonder goal, basically. And Rashford was basically kicked out of the game every time he had the ball as well. I thought the referee was very, very poor in his protection of Rashford in particular. But I actually think Mkhitaryan did quite a lot of work defensively. Like he did struggle when United had the ball, but it seemed like he was very positionally disciplined, and he did a lot of what Mourinho would have what Mourinho would have presumably wanted him to do in terms of defensive organisation, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, he did. And, that's what United were there to set up to do, to concede possession and then go long when possession broke down. And it worked exactly as Mourinho wanted, and he did, his reaction to that was exactly as you would have thought it, all the sort of old arrogance came back. And I guess what everyone is thinking is this the platform, right? It has to be the platform. We can't have another season like we've just had. I guess we'll come to our sort of ratings and awards and all that kind of stuff later, but, that was a means to an end. Surely, if that's the end and always the means, then I wonder how much United fans will tolerate it for how long. Or maybe we've been so attuned to losing for the last 3 years that any kind of success is an opiate. We'll see.
Word for Ander Herrera, 6 tackles completed, just classic Ander Herrera. The man has been transformed by Mourinho and it's really working. But also a player who has repeatedly been accused of not turning up in the big games at United this season, with some justification but a little much of a broad brushstroke, and that is Paul Labille Pogba, who opened the scoring with a clear wonder goal. He definitely meant it to bounce off the defender and spawn into the back of the net. But
yes,
his overall
fortunate, very, very fortunate on that one. But you don't take the shots, you don't score the goals, I suppose.
You miss 100% of chances you don't take, as they say.
That's right.
But Pogba just misses 100% of his shots. No, that's not true. It's not true. It was lovely to see him play so well and be the man for United in this game. It was a really enjoyable experience watching that play out. I think United hugely benefited from the times at which the ball went, the goals were scored. So I think United were really on top for the first few minutes of the game. And Ajax had slightly found that they looked really shook. Ajax did. They looked like the big stage was kind of too much for them. They were misplacing a lot of simple passes and stuff. And United were on them in the first few minutes. And it was after... And basically, Ajax had slightly crept back into the game when Pogba scored, and that really deflated them. They then kind of built another head of steam towards the end of the first half, and they would have been so gutted when Mkhitaryan scored that absolutely brilliant goal right at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, and game over then. I mean, it's not like United were about to concede a whole bunch of chances. They definitely weren't. It was that was about then not taking too many risks, and it's not no one's classic final, this, and Mourinho will care not one bit. And of course, I think all the fans there and watching on the telly would have wanted this to be a brilliant performance, attacking performance. United making a statement saying we're back in the big time because, back in the Champions League now, proper, showing the elite around Europe that we're back and all the players that we want to sign that we're back to. So not quite that, but it's that platform thing again, isn't it?
Just to make a quick point about that, I mean, it's not quite that, but then you could also say, well, we were just in a European final, which we never looked in any danger of doing anything other than winning.
Right.
So
absolutely,
you can kind of like separate the stylistic argument from that, really, because United just bossed, basically, apart from the second leg against Celta Vigo, basically bossed their whole Europa League campaign from the moment at which they decided it mattered anything to them. A word for, though, in completely another note, a player that I was very worried about before this game. Well, a selection of players. United's entire back four were outstanding. I thought both Blint and Smalling absolutely magnificent at centre back, particularly Chris Smalling, and both fullbacks, even Matteo Darmian, played superbly. I thought it was a really assured performance from the back four.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I have to say, if I was looking at it from an Ajax perspective, I'd have been pretty disappointed. All the talk of all their attacking players, Dolberg, totally absent. Traore barely touched the ball. Klaassen, number 10, no influence whatsoever. So I was pretty disappointed in them. I think the thing that was most interesting is Ajax had no response. Just couldn't change it up at all. It's not like United's tactics were... You could, about 30 seconds in, you could spot the tactics and see how the match was going to go. And they didn't change anything at all in order to counter that, which was pretty surprising, got to say. I mean, a manager, Peter Bosz, is rated pretty highly. He's gone to Borussia Dortmund. Big step up for him. Now, they pick good coaches, generally speaking. And on the big stage, they froze, didn't they? Or they didn't change anything to change the pattern of the game in the second half.
And it did look kind of like men against boys, didn't it? I mean, physically,
absolutely.
United were. Maybe the one exception to that was the Ajax centre backs. Very, very young, both excellent in that game. Hardly put a foot wrong. Yeah, and
Sanchez very physical and Light looks a very. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right there. But he looks a very, very good player. Very young, but I think he might be a top player. I
mean, it's always hard to project out from 17, isn't it? But, to play that well in a European final, especially one you lose. But yeah, Sanchez did a number on Rashford. Although, as I said, Rashford was not helped at all by the referee in that game. Then it was over. And United won, and it was a massive buzz. It goes on the list with Wembley, Rotterdam, that night in Barcelona, Moscow, and now Stockholm.
Right. And buys United entry into the Champions League for even bigger nights to come. And the European Super Cup coming up in Slovenia or somewhere. Macedonia.
It's in Macedonia, and I know this because I was looking at flights, and I looked at flights as basically as the final whistle blew, and they were kind of reasonable. I should have just gone for it because they're not reasonable anymore.
Yeah. They weren't reasonable going to Stockholm.
No, but was it worth it? Are you glad?
Oh, of course. Yeah. You get that absolutely sickening feeling when you spend some really offensive amount of money. I just didn't think about it after that.
Yeah.
The only benefit of spending that much amount of money, I appear to have bought a business class ticket on the way back. Or at least they let me sit there. Anyway, they're probably like, Mr. Barker, you spent a really offensive money on Air Riga, or Air Baltic, or whatever it was. And normally you'd be fearing for your life, so we're going to get you really drunk, which is exactly what they did. I love airlines. They're so process managed. They have to do the same thing. Doesn't matter. This was a 40-minute flight from Stockholm to to Riga, in which time I had champagne, 2 gin and tonics and 2 red wines, and I was reeling after 40 minutes.
Reeling Airlines rather than Riga Airlines.
Yeah, good.
Did you get to see any of Latvia?
Oh, no. I saw the inside of an absolutely dead and very nice airport, modern, with no people there.
I heard that the airport leaving Stockholm was absolute madness on the night.
Oh, people were going back on the night. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
You stayed
I stayed over.
did you?
Yeah. Central Stockholm was fun, but I stayed overnight. Yeah, I'm sure it was. People getting the flight back. Yeah, because there were a few midnight flights set up, so I didn't risk it.
Have you had to deal with any people coming up to you in the street since your face was leaked on Twitter, Ed?
I mean, I carry around a pen now just in case, but no.
It's outrageous. Someone recognised me on my way to vote today. Apparently, they could have been making it up though.
UKIP campaigners.
Yeah, this is being recorded for the if you still detect a faint hope, a note of hope in our voices, it's because this is being recorded on Thursday night at 9:00, and the pain has not fully sunk in yet. Or, we've yet to experience the scintillating joy of surprise. That's maybe, who knows? Anyway, that's enough politics. The scintillating joy of surprise is that United's season in totality, I guess, has to be considered a good season, right? Does it?
Well, it's a success in that the goals, the most important goals, win a trophy, major trophy, get into the Champions League, have been achieved. So that's a success. Mm-hmm. If you were to look at it more holistically than that, I think there's more to it than that. It's Manchester United. There's got to be more to it than that. So the major trophies are the 2 least major ones, I suspect, at the beginning of the season. The thing that really counts is performance against peers. Sorry to Celta Vigo, Ajax, Saint Etienne and the others. I don't think Manchester United would consider those club peers. The ones that really count are City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, and we failed on that account. The style of football has got progressively worse throughout the season. The points total and position 6th, not acceptable, really. There's a lot of caveats. On Mourinho's checklist, lots of checks. Job done. On a kind of the long list of things that United fans might want, I'm not sure about that, which leads it to being a sort of C or B plus season sort of thing, I don't know.
But C or B minus,
C or B minus sort of season, sort of 6.5 out of 10. Which sounds ridiculous and spoilt when you say won the League Cup, won the Europa League. And maybe it is ridiculous and spoilt, but that kind of, the style in which it was done, bit of a negative there, though everyone will forget it if United move on. And that's the big thing, isn't it? So maybe this time next season where United have pushed really hard for the Premier League title or won it or something and done great in Europe, we'll be going, hey, that was a platform. Last season was actually very good because we were building towards something bigger.
So I wrote a list of pros and cons, basically, on Maxit for when I ended up giving him a B minus. So I've got in the cons column, seemed really grumpy for ages and complained loads. Treated Luke Shaw, Anthony Martial and Henrik Mkhitaryan in particular really oddly. We'll come back to that, I guess. Performed dismally against the rest of the top 6. Failed to adapt in games when Zlatan wasn't doing the business. Overplayed Paul Pogba. Then in the pros side, won 2 trophies. Improved the feel-good factor because I think there was a substantial period of the season where we did play good football, made a load of brilliant signings, handled the Rooney situation brilliantly, vastly improved a few players, particularly defensive players, made brilliant use of Ander Herrera. Those are my big pluses and big minuses.
Yeah, although particularly when we say particularly defensive players, what we're talking about there is Marcus Rocco, because I'm not sure that Smalling.
Valencia?
Well, yeah, but he was heading in that direction. Although maybe that's
was he?
Maybe I'm being a hypocrite there. That's probably not true. Yeah, okay, yes, okay. Rocco and Valencia, excellent seasons, both of them. Tweedledum and Tweedledee, not so much.
I don't think Phil Jones put a foot wrong on the pitch, did he? He got injured, but what can you think of a significant mistake that Phil Jones made this season?
No. When he played, he was very good against alongside Rocco in the winter, wasn't he? But you can't rely on him. I mean, honestly,
but that's not the question. That's not the argument. I agree with you. I'm not saying Phil Jones is the answer. I'm saying in terms of Mourinho.
I don't think he improved Phil Jones. Phil Jones has always had bags and bags of natural talent, you know? 6 years ago when he joined the club, we were talking about how great this player should have been. 4 years ago when Fergie left, he was talking about him being the next Duncan Edwards. I mean, you know.
Eric Bailly is another player who he was kind of, I mean, he's made a few mistakes this season, but largely, I mean, obviously he's an excellent defender, but I think you could argue that he's had a better season this season than people would have said he would have had for Villarreal last season. So then Herrera as well. So who, I don't know if I guess he's had a better season in totality, but he certainly had a better season defensively. So I think if you kind of I think most of our defenders, apart from like Luke Shaw and Chris Smalling, he's improved.
Yeah. Now, what about the attackers?
Well, should we start handing out some awards?
Well, people have been waiting for it, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Although, you know, obviously I'm them anyway, because, I put a poll up on Twitter to say, who do you want to do the intro to the pod? And I came in a full Liberal Democrat.
Yeah, you much like Tottenham Hotspur, managed to come third in the 2-horse race somehow.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's difficult. But listen, we're not going to hold that against the listeners who made the excellent choice of electing producer Tom to do the intro for this episode. And we'll hand out some awards. So we'll start with goal of the season, because I suppose that's a pretty easy one. Or have you got a radical alternative suggestion to Henrik Mkhitaryan's magical offside scorpion kick?
No, definitely Henrik Mkhitaryan's magical offside scorpion kick. Wasn't offside. Yeah. It's too good to be offside.
I mean, there are a few others. I'd like to mention a goal that wasn't nominated in the United awards, the main United awards, but Zlatan's goal against Blackburn Rovers, the long ball from Paul Pogba and the wait, bang.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah, it was real good. Any other Zlatan goals in the mix? The free kick in the League Cup final.
Yeah, a few long-range daisy cutters.
Yeah.
Early in his against Bournemouth, it's a fine goal. Bournemouth, was it? Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a good goal,
but not a great
I don't
goal.
think anyone would have given that goal a season.
Yeah.
No. Lingard's mega blaster against whoever it was, where he just kept running and blasted it into the back of the net again. Borough, I think that was Borough away, maybe.
Some decent goals, but it hasn't been a season of many goals or loads of great goals.
Well, I mean, there have actually been a lot of goals this season. Because we've played so many games, we've scored over 100 in all competitions.
Yeah, but I don't think that's good. That's like Donald Trump saying he won the Electoral College. It's not the point.
Well, I mean, it's sort of the opposite of that, because sadly that is the point.
United's average goals per game is not good.
No,
right?
It's not. No, agreed. All right, so best expected S moment of the season, Ed. This is a brand new category for this season. Will you introduce it to the people?
Yeah. Random conversation on Twitter today, because Diego Costa has said he's not going to be at Chelsea next season. So I proposed that maybe a cheeky bid was in order. One, because he's a fine striker, but also I think we need to up our Shithousery quotient. And expected Shithousery is low for United. We've only really got Ander. Although it's not my Shithousery moment of the season. For me, the award by miles and miles and miles goes to Marcus Rashford for, oi, are you the ref? Perfect winding up.
Shh, are you the ref? Shh. That was still in Guidetti's head when he missed that chance late on.
Absolutely, he's totally done him. Totally done him with the mind games.
I think it's, was it? Oh, that might have been last season, the Ander Herrera pullback. Yeah, it was in the semi-final against Everton, wasn't it? The Ander Herrera pullback. So yeah, we'll go with that one. That seems reasonable.
Imagine, Costa, Pepe's available. Re-signs Zlatan, maybe a cheeky bid for Busquets.
So
that would one hell of a five-a-side team.
what do you think it was Mourinho's worst decision of the season? Award for worst decision.
Yeah, I mean, and there've been quite a few, and you listed a bunch of them. I think the one that was least becoming of him, and the whole end of the season is close, and the way he treated Luke Shaw is close. I mean, calling him out could have been a last-ditch thing, but saying he had no brain was not nice. I think the worst one is the way he treated Bastian. This is a World Cup winner, a man with lots and lots of personal class, who didn't cause any trouble, who just wasn't good enough for the team anymore, and he sent him to play with the reserves. It was humiliating and totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree that was humiliating and totally unnecessary, but I don't think I would call it his worst decision, because I think it didn't really material. I mean, it was the least pleasant decision, but it wasn't the one that materially affected United on the pitch. And I think maybe there's so many to choose from. I think his decision to prioritise defence over attack to such an extent in the big games is the thing that he did, which I found most upsetting this season. Some of the personnel decisions and his mismanagement of Martial and Mkhitaryan, which were kind of even worse in terms of their on-pitch effect than the mishandling of Luke Shaw. There was just a real creative drive that was missing, that could have been there for so much more of the season.
But isn't that what we signed up for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and we did win trophies, and that was nice. So, on that note, what do you think his best decision of the season was?
Playing Fellaini at number 10 in the Europa League final? No. I don't. And look, my answer is going to be obvious, but it's to drop Wayne Rooney and build the team around Paul Pogba. 7 games into the season, he dropped Rooney first time. Now, obviously, Rooney came back into the team at the end for different reasons. And by that time, it was tactical. But the big strategic decision was, it's the end of the Rooney era.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wrote an article the next day, in fact, saying that was the end of the Rooney era. And someone was like, oh, he's been dropped for 1 game. And it's like, nope, that's the end of the Rooney era. There's no way back from there. His only way back to the first team was injuries and games that Mourinho didn't care about, basically, after that. And, it's been obvious to all of us for a long time that Rooney's on his way out. And I agree. I think that was his best decision. But maybe another decision which I would give him plenty of credit for was just how much he used Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford made more appearances than any other United player this season.
Of course, tons and tons of them from the bench. Yeah,
you say tons and tons, but not like half or anything. He started a lot of games as well, didn't he?
He did. He started a decent number up front towards the end of the season. But a lot of the games he started was on the left. And yes, he got a lot of minutes, but I'm not sure how many minutes those minutes were productive. We'll see in the long term, but for a period of time, it appeared to affect Rashford's confidence, I think. He's had a good end of the season, and I think in the end he can feel like it was a good season. Didn't score anywhere near the amount of goals that he would have wanted to, or perhaps would have done if he'd been playing up front. We'll see whether that's good progress or not. Depends a lot on the summer, because if United go and spend £100 million on a new striker, Mourinho's going to do nothing but play one striker, because that's what he does. It doesn't matter what the system is, and Rashford's going to be out on the wing again.
Yeah, and we will come on to have a conversation about that. But I guess to defend the mention of this as in Mourinho's good decisions is he could so easily have not given up on the kid, but, made him really peripheral to United's squad. And he could have Timothy Fosu-Mensah'd him pretty easily. But he didn't. He said, okay, this kid is a Mourinho player, even though he's just a kid. And that's kind of a big deal, I think. So let's rank some players, shall we? I guess have you done player rankings for every player in the squad?
Yeah,
okay.
I did. Well, those who made more than 10 starting appearances.
Yeah.
Because honestly, after writing 3,000 words, I just couldn't do any more.
I ranked everyone in the United squad. I think I just left out I left out the kids basically who played in that last game and Vosu Mensah, but everyone else I ranked in order for Bleacher Report for their season. So this,
I'm not with the listicles, so I don't rank in order.
Of course not. You give marks out of 10, right? Much more scientific. But ranking in order does mean I've got automatic picks for all these categories. So Manchester United goalkeeper of the season, Ed. A genuine debate for once. A short debate, but a genuine one.
It's a short debate. Actually, look at the stats. Romero's stats are great. His numbers are very good. But clearly he wasn't better than Dave. I mean, it's interesting the commentary around Dave, because I don't think this season was much worse than any others. I think there are players who've been better than Dave in the totality of the season, but he's not made a lot of mistakes. There seem to be some games where his focus might have gone a little bit, although I'm not sure I can really point to incidents that would prove that, other than it's just a feeling.
I can't think of the game, but I remember one particular goal where I was like, if he's playing well, he doesn't concede that. There was just that feeling a few times.
Yes, and it's a hard one to prove with goalkeepers, isn't it? Exactly what they should or shouldn't have saved. But yeah, for me, it's still an 8 out of 10 season. He's still one of the 2 finest keepers on the planet. Yeah,
okay. Well, I guess I'd give him a little less than 8 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 out of 10 season, really, because part of that's by his own standards, though. But he was fine. Romero, though, definitely deserves praise for how well he did in the Europa League. I mean, whatever we think of the decision to play him in the Europa League, which remains completely surreal to me, in the end it worked out fine, and Romero had a fine season as basically United's Europa League keeper. It will be absolutely fascinating to see what happens if Dave stays next season. But goalkeeper of the season once again, David De Gea, well done.
Well, I can't think, honestly, I cannot think of a single justification for playing Romero in the Champions League.
But could you think of a single justification for playing Romero in the semi-finals and final of the Europa League this season? Well, there you go. So the fact that we can't think of justifications for it definitely doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
And Mourinho has never explained it.
No, he has not. All right, I think this one's maybe a bit tricky because I think there's a few candidates. But best United defender this season?
No, I mean, for me, it's Valencia by miles. I don't think it's that tricky at all. He's had a perfect season for a right-back. He's very good attacking. He's become a much better defender. He works harder than anyone else. He's become a leader. The transformation from him being this kind of tepid, scared winger to being a very fine fullback. Signed a new contract. He's going to be here for a few more years. Should have that position locked up. Should be very good for another couple of years. I mean, he's getting on a bit, of course. So I think he's been excellent. Rojo was very good for a period, and he's made a lot of appearances this season. But I don't think he was as excellent all the time. And all the others, that you can find fault with all of them. So Blint has his Blint moments. Smalling was appalling. Luke Shaw has probably played his last game for the club. We'll see. Phil Jones, he's missed 2/3 of the season through injury. Eric Bailly was very, very good, very good. But I think maybe that's the debate that you meant.
Yeah, that is exactly the debate I meant. I mean, I guess Marcus Rocco definitely deserves honourable mention here for exceeding opportunities by miles. But the big injuries and big absences kind of cost him, I think, in the end to win the category. And I think if the award was best defending, then it would go to Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly has done the best defending of any United player this season. But the awards for best defender and right backs are still categorised as defenders, even though that's starting to not really be relevant. They obviously have to do some defending, but Antonio Valencia is a flank unto himself, isn't he? He's United's entire right flank, and he's done it remarkably. In fact, I had him at number 1 in the rankings this season. He was the player that I would have given player of the season to. I voted for him for player of the season, and he came runner up in that award.
Yeah, it's totally wrong. But, all right.
Is it? So would you give your player of the season to Man United's midfielder of the season? And who would that be?
I would. And this is going to seem weird because, in a way, Pogba's clearly the best player in United's midfield. And there are times when he really showed it. There's things he can do that no one else can do. Range of passing, ability to cover ground, his inventiveness in the final third, ability to sort of totally dominate games. All of that he's shown, but not always, So my midfielder of the season, and in fact my player of the season, would be Ander Herrera, just because of the completeness of his performances over almost all the season. Mourinho left him out the first few games, but when he came into the side, the standard of his performance, I think, has been very, very high right throughout the season.
Yeah, and I agree with every single bit of that. It's funny because it's almost the same as the by Valencia argument, that the high points are Pogba's, like the best bits of midfielding this season have been done mostly by Paul Pogba. But Herrera's consistency has been superb, and he's grown into the season as the season's gone along. I guess.
Plus his XS number is good. And he's become a real leader.
Yeah.
Real leader.
And I think we all assumed that Jose Mourinho would love Ander Herrera. I think that seemed like a complete match made in heaven all along. I don't think maybe we assumed he would be the defensive man in a double pivot when he played 4-2-3-1, but he's by heck, he's good at it. And he's absolutely beloved by the United faithful. And deservedly so. There's a brilliant viral clip doing the rounds of Phil Neville and Ryan Giggs analysing his season on some TV channel with Matt Holland, the former Ipswich player. And Matt Holland keeps going, he's no Carrick, is he? He hasn't got that pass in him. And then Ryan Giggs is like, yeah, sometimes he doesn't put the ball in quick enough to the centre forward. And every time they say one of these things, the clip that they're watching shows him doing exactly what they say he doesn't do. Because he has played the killer ball plenty.
11 assists.
11 assists. There you go.
Right, for the defensive midfielder.
Not bad. Not bad at all. That's across all competitions, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a good number.
It's more assists than Ashley Young has got in his entire United career. I don't know if that's actually true, but it might be.
Okay, so then, so that's midfielder of the year, and we haven't disagreed on either category. I guess we're probably not going to disagree on forward player of the year either, right?
Rooney. No, it's clearly Zlatan. I had a lot of trouble trying to score him, So I gave him a 7.5 out of 10, which seems ridiculous for a man who scored 28 goals. What kind of, parsimonious bastard am I with the scoring? But the performance level hasn't actually always been that high, and quite often very poor. But he scores the goals, and he scores some brilliant ones. And he came into the team and he revitalised a lot of players, I think. Just his confidence and leadership, and those goals have been absolutely vital. Given how few United goals there actually have been across all competitions this season, those 28 have been really, really important. And he missed the last 10 games of the season as well.
Yeah, and he would have got another 10 goals or whatever probably in that time, you'd imagine. Not that he's scoring a goal a game, but you'd imagine he would have got more important goals late in the season. I think the League Cup final was Zlatan Day, wasn't it? It was like that bit of silverware was the bit of silverware we're most indebted to Zlatan, although he was vital in the Europa League campaign as well. It's so easy to forget a contribution like that after when you lose him for the last third of the season, or not even third, but the last, sixth of the season or whatever it was. It felt like he was out for longer than that to me. Did it to you? It feels like a long time since we lost Zlatan.
Yeah, but that's the human psychology, isn't it? You remember the last thing in the highlights. So
yeah. He was a lot of the highlights.
He was a lot of the highlights this season. Yeah, but lots of goals and performances which were a bit yeah. Will we ever see him in red again?
Nah.
We get the released and retained list tomorrow, so Friday.
All the journalists have been briefed that he's not going to be on the retained list. So
no, and it wouldn't make much sense. I mean, one, he's been dallying on this, so it seems like he has other ideas and options, but who knows what he's going to come back like. I mean, most players come back from this injury now because medical care is so good, but he is old, and offering him a 1-year contract when he's going to miss at least half that year with injury, it's like basically giving him £10 million of free money.
Yeah.
Not great value.
No, to come back into a season in January when at that point you'd really hope that the team wouldn't need a 36-year-old striker. I mean, if United need Zlatan in January next season, something's gone really badly wrong, regardless of his quality. I guess if he'd already signed his contract, then it'd be like a massive bonus to have him coming back in January, but it just doesn't make any economic sense whatsoever. Not that United have to necessarily make decisions that just make economic sense, but I mean, there'd be so many questions about it, and it's not clear even what level of, like you say, how is he going to come back from this injury, all that stuff. But
tell you what, it would be interesting next season. Who are the leaders at United next season? So if Zlatan goes, Rooney goes, Carrick will be, he's got an extra year's contract, and he is kind of leader because he's been there for so long, but he's presumably not going to play that much. I mean, Ander will emerge as a leader. We'll get a new club captain, to be decided. But we'll be missing a bit of that. I wonder whether Mourinho will decide to bring in some real characters.
I mean, there are still plenty of characters in the dressing room and plenty of character in the dressing room. And the fact that they've now won 3 trophies in 2 seasons does put them, does get them in the winning habit. And the fact that they've been in 3 finals and won them all does speak highly of their kind of winning mentality, although the league performance called that into question, didn't it? Who would you give the Player of the Season award to then, out of those 4 players that we've given best goalkeeper, defender, midfielder and attacker to? Which one of them gets best Player of the Season?
Well, it's Herrera for me.
Okay.
But it's a close one, isn't it? I know a lot of, I think Gary Neville said that Valencia should be United's Player of the Season. The players gave Valencia the Player of the Season, but maybe I'm just won over by Herrera's sort of, all-round game and personality. But for me, he was United's Player of the Season.
I think the kind of knock against Herrera winning it might be just that there was a little less consistency early in the season. He did there were a few games in which he struggled, and Valencia's hardly struggled all season. He's hit this kind of level of consistency throughout the season that is really kind of impressive. I didn't know how to pick. Basically, I think that my top 5 of the season overall were Bailly, Ibrahimovic, Pogba, Ibrahimovic, Herrera and Valencia. And for the top 4, even Pogba, I could conceive of an argument for them to win Player of the Season. I gave it to Valencia just on that basis of consistency. But do you know what, Ed? I'm happy to cede this one. I think I might have argued vociferously in past seasons, but this time I'm happy for the Rankcast Player of the Season award to go to Ander Herrera.
Well done. I'm sure he's very proud.
Yeah,
we'll send him it.
Yeah, we'll send him a CD of this episode.
CD? Very old. Vinyl. We'll get it cut onto a 12-inch.
All right,
and the B-side can have a breakbeat over the top of it. Show my age there. Yeah, I mean, interesting, you said your top 5 there. Add De Gea into it, and that should be a top spine. So why did United only finish 6th in the Premier League? Well,
I think there are a couple of reasons. One, Ibrahimovic's profligacy was a massive factor.
Yeah.
2, parts of that spine were missing from several crucial games. 3, parts of it Pogba froze a couple of times in key moments of the season. And then the most important supporting players got a lot of injuries as well. So, the spine on its own can't do the job. There was so little consistency with the back 4 in particular. Like the final of the Champions League, of the Europa League, that's the first time that back 4 had ever played together. So it's, there is, or the first time they played together this season, certainly. So I think injuries, profligacy, and a lack of ambition when the Europa League kind of completely took over. I think those are the things that combine to United's final league position.
All right, so the question after this is what comes next? What is Mourinho's to-do list over the summer? Part of it's going to be in the transfer market, but it can't all be the transfer market, can it? I mean, do you have a sense? Okay, a few questions here. What's his top 5 things he has to do over the summer? And where's he headed? What's the vision? Or what does a Mourinho side that's really good look like?
Okay, so top 5 things to do over the summer. I don't know, the transfer market. Are we breaking that out into categories? Are we saying like a centre back is one thing on that list, or are we saying just get the squad right is one of the things on that list?
Yeah, I think there's more than, there are some key decisions to make in the transfer market. Replacement of Zlatan, new centre-back, what do you do about the full-back? So all of that kind of stuff. But, it's kind of rolls into let's get the recruitment right.
Okay.
There are other things to sort out, though, aren't there?
Yeah, he's also got to get the departures right, too. Not too many, but not too few either. I don't even know who. I mean, obviously, we have to assume Rooney's going to go because the player basically said himself in the mix zone after the Europa League final that he's more or less made a decision on what his future is going to hold, and it seemed pretty clear from what he was talking about that he's going to go. And why wouldn't he? And I tell you what, we've given Rooney a lot of stick on this podcast for many years, but my goodness, he deserves respect for the way he's handled himself this season. It would have been so easy for him to be Mardy about it, leaking stories, all that kind of stuff. Didn't do any of that. He just got on with it, was incredibly publicly supportive of the rest of the team, really took the kind of pastoral role of club captain seriously, or certainly seemed to from the outside looking in. And I think it does speak well of his character. You could say, what choices he got, but he could have just been Mardy,
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I think he is taking it very well. He's been a professional. He obviously has enough self-awareness now in his older years to realise the state his sort of career is in and the limits of his performance ability, and he's been very professional about it. He's taken it. He said all the right things. He said he wants to play, that he's going to do everything for the team. He's done it right. And I wonder whether there was a private conversation between him and Mourinho in which Mourinho said, "Yeah, you're not going to play much, but you're going to play enough, and this is why."
Yeah. Having said nice things about him, it's probably worth saying he might have been the worst player on the pitch at the Michael Carrick testimonial.
Wow. I mean, I tell you, when Clarence Seedorf, aged 400, completely outshined you.
And
and look sharper and quicker.
Robbie Keane is definitely in better nick than Wayne Rooney. Like not nick as in physical condition. I don't think Rooney's fitness, like physically, I think he looks very fit physically, but his movement has got real laboured and his touch has obviously gone. Yeah. But anyway, that was fun that day, by the way. Seeing Patrice Evra hug Alex Ferguson on the Old Trafford pitch. I may have got a bit moist-eyed at that. It was quite.
Well, the pollen count was high that day.
Yeah, exactly. It really was. So we think he's got to get the recruitment in right and the recruitment out right. That's 1 and 2.
And the recruitment in is definitely a new striker.
Well, okay.
And that's a hard. I know. And it's a hard one, isn't it? Because Martial and Rashford. I'd love them both to have a go there.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a risk, given the season they both had last season, to risk United's Champions League and Premier League, and it's got to be an assault on the title, of a decent attempt next season, to risk it on a couple of teenagers or one teenager and one just out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But then you sign a top quality number 9.
Right, and you're saying goodbye to one or both of those players, basically.
Yeah, I mean, not from the squad. You can keep them all in the squad. Like, that's...
But you're not going to play them up front.
No,
except in secondary games.
You're losing out something. I mean, I know we've talked about this all the time. My theory is that you lose slightly less from Martial playing him on the left relative to the centre than you do from playing Rashford out there. But what we've seen this season is like they don't both play very often. They only both played once Ibrahimovic was...
So what would your fix be for that then? You know, so United have to score more goals. There's got to, and actually I think the way United score more goals most is by getting the defence right. Maybe this is just wishful thinking. It will give Mourinho the mental licence to unlock the attack a little bit more, but I think they're going to need an attacking player of some kind.
But doesn't the data suggest that isn't really what the problem was in terms of United scoring this? I mean, if you take a few key games, that was clearly what the problem was, the games against the top sides. But you said about Mourinho's vision. My theory about Mourinho's vision is that he's there to brush aside the weaker teams and play the way Man United should. Oh yeah, in those games, and then do Mourinho ball in the big games. Like, that's my theory about what his general vision is. But to come back to the question of how you solve the attack, United created so many chances this season. All the data says that they created easily enough quality chances to be well ahead of where they were in the league, and that profligacy in attack was the big problem. So,
well, and all those data nerds would say that the answer then is not Marcus Rashford up front.
Well, they would, but that's no, they wouldn't actually. They just said that he was outperforming his XG in his earliest years, like when he was first coming through. But anyway, that's the
outperforming his XS as well.
Shh, are you the ref? I don't know what the answer is. I mean, actually, of course, the answer would have been Griezmann, right? Or that would have been a big part of the answer, although there would have been tactical problems there. It's very clear that transfer was absolutely happening until Atletico got a transfer ban. I mean, you're still seeing some stories that maybe it's not entirely done, but I can't help feeling what they're really saying is maybe we could still harvest some media interest and clicks and shares by saying it's not really done, because...
Right. No, I think, let's... the hope kills you, and you shouldn't hope for that one to happen. Yeah. I wonder whether the answer is not to, instead of getting a pure number 9, to get another attacking player.
Yeah.
Which will give United the flexibility to... but, an attacking player who takes his chances. Perhaps even the player who some United fans hoped Marcus Rashford would be.
Who do you mean? Kylian Mbappe?
Yeah.
He's not coming United this summer, though.
No, he's not. He's not. But hey, look, you're going to spunk 130 million on a player.
You picked him as your one signing when I asked you for that for a Bleacher Report article.
Well, I think look, it's illogical in that you're going to pay a mega premium, but of course he's so young that it retains transfer value, whatever that really means now. For many years after, it would be hugely risky. Young player, new environment. Can't really expect the performance levels to be as high as they were for Monaco this season. That said, he's got all of the tools. Incredible with the ball at his feet, great finisher, extremely flexible to play in more than one position, play off both feet, appears to be a very intelligent forward. So, he's not a pure number 9. He played most of his time from the left for Monaco. But yeah, it'd be very exciting.
It would. So the other players that we've been linked with seriously in an attacking capacity are Morata, which that's the big story as we record this, is will they, won't they with Morata. Belotti.
Morata's saying no.
Yeah, right, at the moment. But not in that kind of, in quite as intense a way as Griezmann did.
Where do you stand on Morata? I mean, he played 2 years in Juventus where he was good, but didn't score bags and bags of goals. He's not a 35-goal a season man, is he?
Well, no. And where I stand on Morata is where I stand on most players in most leagues, which is that I just haven't seen enough of him to know. I haven't looked at the data either really in depth. So I'm definitely inclined to trust Mourinho, although I'm sure Mourinho has made plenty of high-profile transfer mistakes in his time as well. Not every player he's ever bought he was 4 for 4 last summer, basically. But I don't know whether we can necessarily expect him to be 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 this summer.
No. But, fees are, given how much Premier League money there is, and everyone knows it, fees are huge.
Yeah, and I don't care at all about that. Like, people who go, I'd have him for 50 but not 70. I'm like, what are you on?
I know, and I agree with you there. It doesn't make any sense. But, I guess it depends on how much clubs really prepared to spend. Is it 400 million? Then, who cares whether you spend £60 million on Morata? I mean, Morata, 15 goals last season, his best season by miles in terms of numbers.
What about Belotti, who's a player that Statman Dave O'Brien, he messaged me and suggested that Belotti would be his choice because actually United's put in a lot of crosses last season, and someone to get on the end of them would be real good, and Belotti can do that.
Yeah. So my sense of Belotti was is incomplete because I don't watch as much Italian football as I once did. And my sense of when I'd seen him play before was that I wasn't sure whether he was really a 9 or a 9.5, and he looked like a converted winger who was playing up front. He drifted into different positions all the time. Look at his YouTube video of goals scored this season, and more than half are next to or inside the 6-yard box. So he's turned himself into a fox in the box. Yeah. Which I think is what Statman Dave is saying there.
Yeah, and that is not a bad thing, is it? That'd be quite a good thing for United.
I think there's quite a simple theory here. United should get the best forward they can possibly get.
Is that Romelu Lukaku?
Look, you know what you're going to get. He's proven in the Premier League. He's had just come off a very fine season. He is a streaky player.
Yeah, and I wonder,
he is not going to give you the same level of performance every single game. Definitely not.
I wonder whether that doesn't. We haven't rather got the squad to deal with that, because in theory, at least, Mata, Martial, Rashford, Mkhitaryan, there's a lot of goals in the supporting cast here. They weren't this season, just gone, but there are. Those goals have not left their boots, as it were. They can all score a lot of goals in a season. So maybe you can kind of ride the streak a little bit, and then you just benefit from Lukaku's remarkable scoring rate. I mean, of course, what would be lovely is if Tottenham would accept a £200 million bid for Harry Kane.
Yeah, and solve all your problems, he's a very fine finisher and very fine all-round player. Can do it in the Premier League. He's, as he said, he's been a one-season wonder 3 seasons in a row. I thought it was a good line. Wonder whether he'd actually paid someone to write that for him.
It's been doing the rounds, that line. I reckon he's seen it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I'd say about Harry Kane is he does sound in interviews like he's been on the helium.
He sounds like he looks like a 1930s superhero, and he sounds like a 1930s newspaper boy. Yeah. It's a strange combination. The other big name attack-minded signing that has been linked to United vaguely, mostly I think just because this is a link that won't go away. There's clearly been interest, and I think probably mutual interest for a long time, and that's of course Gareth Bale. Personally, this isn't particularly well informed, but my hunch would be for £100 million, which is, I guess, what we're talking about roughly for Bale, you'd want him to make very, very sure he definitely has 2 ankles still.
Yeah, no, that's right. And he had another problem with injury this season, which sort of spoilt the end of his season. He didn't start the Champions League final because he wasn't fully fit.
They were so good in that second half of that Champions League final, weren't they?
No, scarily good. A very long way away from that are we at the moment, but with ambitions to get there, I hope, maybe. Look, Bale would be an excellent signing because he does score lots of goals. He is a great attacking player. He will create lots of assists, but the fitness record is a problem for that kind of level of spending, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, obviously, the one thing he wouldn't do is get in the way of Martial and Rashford. But just the players that we linked with make it pretty clear that United want a number 9, although that is not why they stopped trying to buy Griezmann. That day when they're like, we decided we don't really want Antoine Griezmann anymore. We're going to buy number 9 instead, I think. And they briefed every journalist who all said exactly the same thing. And it was clearly nonsense.
Yes, but look, it's the post-truth world, so what does it matter?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then we won't go through the every position and every player that United have been linked with, but I mean, in terms of non-transfer stuff, the thing that Mourinho most needs to get right is his mentality and how it relates to the squad. Like that real togetherness that we saw after Stockholm and that kind of bond that he clearly has with some of his players. We need to know that they all believe in themselves. They were all really taking seriously a proper run at the Premier League title.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be the goal. So there's got to be the vision in terms of the checklist of achievements next season. This season was major trophy, Champions League. Next season has to be run at the title and decent in the Champions League. Not embarrassing.
Absolutely.
I think we'd accept a quarterfinal loss to Real Madrid or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, also, so long as we really mount a serious title challenge, I don't mind if we exit the group stages so long as we don't finish third in the group. That's...
It's a bit un-United, that. I'm not sure if I can accept that.
No.
But
okay.
definitely a run at the title, respectable and sustained. And some better football. I mean, when I say vision, I think it's more than here's my list of goals. It's how you're going to get to them. And it cannot be playing the way United completed the season, And I'm not sure I even accept what you said about we'll play the way United play against crap sides and then against the top teams we're going to play Mourinho ball. There's got to be. I mean, he could not have got away with that at Real Madrid, except in 2 matches a season against Barcelona.
Christ, Ed, have you seen the exit polls?
Yeah.
Come on! But anyway, never mind. Sorry.
All right, so we fixed all United's problems.
I think we've got to about 3 of the 5 things. I mean, one of the things that I think Rich Can said on, I guested on a podcast called The Team of John O'Shea's with Red Voices is Rich Can. The Team of John O'Shea's are talking to people who support every club in the country, over every Premier League club over the summer, and they talked to us first. It was great fun, well worth a listen, because Rich is great on talking about United, and he was saying that having a really good pre-season, and not as in winning games, but having a sensible, sane pre-season would be massive, because United came into this season off the back of an absolutely disastrous pre-season in terms of everything that happened in China and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So that'll be kind of potentially important.
Yeah, and summer prep, they're going to be in the States. They get good facilities. They're not going to play too many games. Obviously, they get tons of commercial stuff. But it's decent preparation. I'm sure the club would have liked to have done business early. Wrapped up Michael Keane and Griezmann by now. That's not happened. I guess they're going down their list of forwards: Griezmann, Morata, Lukaku, Heskey. Until they get one.
Jamie Jackson told Full Time Devils that Mourinho was obsessed with Lukaku, which we've not really seen that coming through. But Lukaku's basically done the Eden Hazard and said he's chosen what team he's going to, and my money would be on Chelsea at this point, but we'll see, I guess.
And he would be a perfect 1-for-1 replacement with Costa.
Yeah, absolutely. With Costa, did you say? Oh, yeah. Right, if he goes to Chelsea. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's...
I'd take Costa.
Yeah, I know you would, Ed.
He's an absolute of a man.
You love him so much, don't you? But yeah.
He's a great player. He's a very good forward, perfect Mourinho forward. And he's an utter just an utter of a man. So we would love if he was a United player.
We made Tom record the opening, and now you're making break the beep button for your descriptions of Diego Costa.
Hey, look, he may be a but he's our or could be.
Not yet.
He won't be. He won't be ever. He won't be ever. I'm kidding.
All right, let's blast.
As long as just a final word on transfers. As long as this thing doesn't happen, Mourinho takes John Terry on a 1-year contract.
It's not going to happen. It's just never going to happen. It was funny seeing him get booed at Old Trafford. It was good. It was good. He picked good baddies. Michael Carrick did.
Yes.
Jamie Carragher absolutely clattering Gary Neville. That was one of the highlights of the evening, as was Gary Neville's shot, which was very funny.
Get the iPad out and analyse that, Gary.
The other thing is, like, Michael Carrick scored in his testimonial, which I know everyone scores in their testimonial, apart from Wayne Rooney. But the fact that Carrick scored a screamer in its testimonial, they definitely didn't let that in. Like, no. He wasn't unmarked or anything.
Rooney set him up nicely.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
His last assist of many in a red shirt.
Yeah.
Fine goal. And I didn't go to the game, you did. And the commentator said, you couldn't write this script. And I was thinking, no, that's exactly the script you would have written.
Yeah. Graham Carrick coming on was nice as well. They look really similar from a distance, from in the stands. Like, you know how you kind of pick players out by, you can't see their faces necessarily that clearly. So you pick them out by kind of build and the way they move. And there was a kind of definite family similarity there. And there was a really nice moment when he like calmly chested the ball back to Edwin van der Sar. That's like it runs.
Yeah. No, it's like how the Happy Mondays had Bez for years. We could just have Graham Carrick as a mascot.
We could. I was sat in the press box, so it's next to the director's box, which is where Lisa Carrick was sitting, and it was lovely to see her reaction to the goal, and also to see his kid and him dabbing at each other. that was really special. Anyway, let's do Rantcast questions. At Higher Primate 7 says, why isn't Ryan, talking players that were at that game, why isn't Ryan Giggs a manager yet? 3 years ago, he was apparently in contention for the United job and he hasn't managed a game since.
No, interesting that, isn't it? What's the word on the street in the world of football? I don't know, but it might be that people don't rate Giggs as highly as Giggs rates Giggs.
Yeah, absolutely. That would seem to be the case. He's still got it on the pitch, though. My goodness, he pulled off some sick skill.
He's totally got it, yeah. He can still hack it as a player in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt about it. No doubt. He definitely could. His touch is that good and his range of passing great. He should take a job as a coach, is what he should do, working with a sound manager at a stable club.
Yeah, somewhere like, I don't mean this club scale-wise, but somewhere like Bournemouth with Eddie Howe would be good. But the problem is, if you bring Giggs in at a club like that, he's maybe a bit too much of a big figure behind the scenes, isn't he? So it's more like you want him working for Ancelotti at Bayern Munich or whatever, where he can't get the top job, really. So he's not going to be, Machiavellian about it all.
And we know Giggs is Machiavellian, don't we?
We do. Well, we don't know he is. We've just heard.
The knife is still in David Moyes' back.
At Oishin_Mac_Hugh, if Conservatives and Labour were football clubs, who would they be and why? Chelsea would be the Tories, obviously. And the Labour Party would be, I don't know, some sort of scrappy upstarts trying to make a difference in the world. Bournemouth. Come on, that's too small. You've gone too small there, Ed.
Well, if you look at the polling...
I think there might be Arsenal, sadly. Oh no, I've upset myself here. Anyway, let's move on. You can tell we're recording on this on election night. At _Taylor Ben says, which politician, past or present, would be the best fit for United manager? I think sadly the answer might be like Tony Blair.
Well, United are the Tony Blair of the football world, perfectly squeaky clean and nicely corporate.
But with a horrific dark side.
Yeah, so we need some weapons of mass destruction. We should sign Ronaldo over the summer.
I did, part of me was thinking at the Carrick testimonial, there'd been this fake quote doing the rounds of Mourinho saying there might be a surprise this summer. And I was like, well, he was in Cardiff yesterday. The entire 2008 team are here. Maybe Mourinho walks onto the pitch with Ronaldo at half-time. I've brought him home, lads. Ronnie's coming home. Even though he's old now, he's so ridiculous. He's got better. Not as an all-round player, but his contribution to his team has got even better. Because he doesn't kind of demand every single ball be passed to him anymore. He just puts the ball in the back of the net over and over and over and over again.
He has reinvented himself so superbly.
Yeah.
As a number 9.
Yeah.
And a half, You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't play as a pure number 9 for Real, but
9.25, I'd
Yeah.
say, though, like, because the half, it's not even a full half of other responsibilities.
no, and
He's mainly about
he'll play for a long time doing that. He's very economical with his movement, and you know he might not be able to score 50 goals at Real Madrid level until he's 40, but he'll play for a long time if he wants.
At T-Shang says, on a scale of 1 to Zlatan, how much do you think Ibrahimovic regrets not signing the contract extension a few months back?
No, I don't think he cares.
No.
I think he probably had a plan in his head, and he'll just execute on that plan 6 months later.
At bifurcated_MBM, best friend of the show, says, if you could try any fictional piece of tech from a film or a video game, what would it be? What a great question that is.
I think I'd want a replicator. That'd be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
Oh, great. Hot. What Patrick Stewart always used to say. Yeah, replicator would be good. Star Trek kind of wins, I guess, because the teleporter thing.
Well, you'd like it. It's a perfect socialist, world, isn't it?
It's coming.
Universal basic income and free resource for everyone.
A teleporter would be awesome. From video games, the portal gun, on the subject of teleporters, the portal gun would be a ton of fun to play with. I'm trying to think of... like in Bionic Commando, the arm thing with the grappling hook that shot out of it. The grappling hook from Just Cause 2. Although you would definitely die. Except the thing about the grappling hook... Excuse me, talking video games for a second. Just Cause 2 is a brilliant open world video game, Ed. You'd like it, lots of explosions, where you have a grappling hook that attaches to anything in the world and pulls you along. The best thing about it is when you jump out of a plane, if you don't deploy your parachute, when you get near the ground, you can just fire the grappling hook into the ground and it pulls you safely into land. So if I could get that would be pretty awesome, I think.
Honestly, I just want a hoverboard from Back to the Future.
Yes! Yes! The definitive correct answer, a replicator is more useful, but the proper hoverboard with power from Back to the Future 2. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Did you see was it the Portuguese Cup final where the ball was delivered to the referee via hoverboard? It was basically a load of drones stuck together. It looked like a...
Yeah.
That was
Very
pretty
silly.
cool. I mean, when you say silly, you mean awesome, right?
Yeah, as a man with several drones, as we've been discussing.
Yeah. Do you think Mourinho's inclusion of Romero in the Europa League final was informed by his handling of Courtois and Cech, where Cech eventually left, says @Mark_E_F? I think...
No, because in Courtois he had another world-class keeper.
Yeah, and a better keeper by that point, because Cech had passed his best by that point.
Yeah, and no, we're not in that situation with Romero, sorry.
Not even close. At MUFC Jeff says, what is the thing you've seen on the pitch this year which reminds you of being 12? I love this question. Kind of most joy. I mean, the Mkhitaryan scorpion kick, definitely. Just the complete childlike wonder when he scored that goal. That and maybe the winner against Middlesbrough when we came back right at the end of the game. But yeah, that Mkhitaryan scorpion. The noise in Old Trafford where 75,000 people went... before they all cheered like crazy. It was just amazing.
Awesome.
Do you feel, asks at Mavivek, that Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson have actually got a similar style of play, defending numbers and relying on quick players for attack?
Depends, late stage Fergie, yeah, and as Rio Ferdinand said this season, a bit more practical and pragmatic in the last 3 seasons. He did what needed to be done to be won. I'm not sure, and someone out there will have the data or can be bothered to look it up to prove me wrong. I'm not sure there were very many times, possibly less than 5 ever in 1,000 games, where United had 30% possession, and United have done that several times this season.
Yeah, I agree. The Carrick testimonial was really interesting because Fergie just played 4-4-2 with both fullbacks bombing forward. Now, obviously, it's a testimonial, but it was quite funny to see Evra was halfway up the pitch and look over at where the other fullback was, and sure enough, they'd left Rio and Vidic to deal with it on their own. It was
as they could.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that is a big difference. One fullback goes, one stays. So he did get a bit more pragmatic, Fergie, but he never quite. Like you mentioned, there's probably less than 5 games when United had 30% possession. The other thing is, I think we can count on the fingers of one hand how many times he ever played a back six for any length of time.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and we shouldn't hope too much, look, because we knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
You just hope that somehow Mourinho bends to the will of the club. Because he could produce a very good attacking side. He did it at Real Madrid.
Yeah, absolutely. At Joey M_UX says, I'm going to continue to sing United are going to Stockholm for another 17 years. It's catchy and I love it. Is that acceptable? There were people singing because United have won in Stockholm at the Carrick thing. So, maybe it'll be around, but I think it'll probably die off. But yes,
I'd like to go to more Euro aways.
Yeah, maybe let's try and get to one next season.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, I'm not in the loyalty part because I definitely don't get to as many, international travel with work and 3 kids, don't get to as many games as I once did. But hey.
We might be able to find a way. We know people who know people. At Mango_Carrot says, do you prefer podcasting with Ed or Rich Can? That's a reference to that aforementioned guest appearance on Team of John O'Shea. Obviously Ed, but Rich Can is real fun to talk to about United. At RichCan76 on Twitter. He has good opinions and he expresses them excellently, in my opinion.
Such a podhole.
I love it. Like, honestly, when I started doing podcasting, one of the things I really hoped for is that one day people would ask me to do guest appearances on other podcasts.
I mean, to be fair, if we went back to your 7-year-old self, I didn't know what a podcast was then, because it hadn't been invented.
Yeah.
But projecting forward to now, I would have said you'd love doing podcasts.
Yeah, agreed. At Kevin Leahy wants to know whether we need a US noodles partner company to get us on the summer tour of the US. If we need a sponsor,
Well, I'm going to be in the States for a long time over the summer, but the wrong part of the summer.
Ah, right. Okay.
So I will. I'll miss the start of the season.
Oh, right. Oh, that's awkward. You should be.
It is awkward, rather. I mean, it's not difficult watching it, except for timing, but. I will. I'll be in the States from sort of mid-August to mid-September. If anyone would like to hook up in Seattle or San Francisco,
He's just to be clear when he says hook up. Just want to be real clear. He'll be
4
there with
beers.
his wife and family.
Yes. 4 beers. Nod, wink, wink.
At Gary_1105 says, aside from a 2-month self-induced coma, is there any way to avoid a summer of mind-numbing transfer rumours? Stay off Twitter. Stay off social media. That's where they live.
Is there any football on this summer?
Confederations Cup.
It's MLS and MLS.
Confederations Cup.
Confed Cup, is it? Oh, yeah, that'd be all right.
I'm not watching it. I don't know whether I've fully decided to boycott the World Cup yet, but I'm definitely at least doing the really meaningless thing of boycotting the pre-World Cup tournament in Russia. FIFA are just disgusting. So.
Oh, of course they're disgusting. And, I don't know what despotic but wealthy regime the World Cup after 2022 goes to, but it'll be going there.
Well, I don't know what despotic and chaotic regime the World Cup in 2022 is going to go to now, but let's not talk about geopolitics too much today.
Yeah, although there was some talk about perhaps the 2026 World Cup coming to the UK, so a despotic and corrupt regime.
Listen, the exit polls are out, Ed. It might not be. Anyway, who was the David May of the Europa League celebrations? Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
Giving it large, wasn't he?
As well he should. A lovely lad. But the Crutch crew, the whole Crutch gang, it was pretty noticeable that there were just a lot of United players on crutches at that thing.
Yeah, it was hilarious. They're all lined up, ready to hobble on at the final whistle.
All in club suits, except Zlatan, who was just
of course, he was in his pyjamas. Yeah.
At comedic_hermit says, which venue had the worst pre-match playlist this season? I'll tell you what, I don't know who had the worst, but Bournemouth was banger after banger after banger. It was very 90s in Bournemouth. I felt very at home. So I can't remember which one had the worst pre-match playlist, but yeah, Bournemouth definitely won.
Alan Keegan was doing the announcing at the Friends Arena.
Right.
And He was Pete Keegan. He really was.
Did he call it Old Trafford by accident at any
No,
time?
he didn't. No, he didn't. But, he's got this particular style of delivery, Old Trafford. And welcome to the Europa League final, where respect for the referee is due. Thank you, and enjoy the spectacle of Manchester United, and all of that.
I think we should get you to do it. I saw Alan Keegan outside Old Trafford, and
I think I'd do it pretty well.
I thought about asking him for a quick
throw
interview.
my hand to the ring?
Yeah, no, I'd
Does it pay well? There's at least, in total, about 4 minutes worth of work. Once a week.
No, you've got to call the penalty shootouts at half time. Give him a good clap, East Stand. Angel Gomez for Angel, not Angel. I've got to self-correct every time I do that because I'm trying to get in the habit. Angel Gomez for captain says at Mike Osterdahl.
Got on the pitch. That's very nice.
It was lovely.
Have all of about 3 seconds on the pitch. Did he actually touch the ball?
Oh, we didn't talk about that game because we recorded the preview afterwards. That game was a gosh darn delight.
Yes.
Dimitri Mitchell was absolutely outstanding. And Josh Harrop, we don't need to buy a left back. Just play Cameron Borthwick-Jackson and Dimitri Mitchell there next season.
Yeah, I mean, remarkable turnaround in Mitchell because he was a forward 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Had an injury, converted to left back, and it looks like he's got a future there.
And Josh Harrop's calmness and kind of his preparedness to go for it, his courage, basically. It was, Rooney was in a really good position to receive a pass when Harrop hit that ball into the back of the net, but Harrop was always going to larrup it. It was lovely. That game changed so much when Pogba went off at half-time. It was a microcosm of our season. With Pogba, he looked great. Without him, pretty average. But Mourinho was weird in that. He played Axel Tuanzebe in attacking midfield in the second half of that game. And then he did the weird thing of not going for a walk round the pitch with the players, which we later found out was so he could do the press conference before any of the journalists had come in and go, any questions? And there's just 2 people in there and they look a bit stunned and then he walks out. Outrageous. But yeah, of course, then he won the Europa League and it was all fine. Do you think Michael Carrick would make an excellent manager one day? Asks at Rich Saville.
He seems like a very intelligent student of the game. I don't know. I'm working off some kind of conscious bias there, but I think he would make would he have ruthlessness? We didn't think about Marquinhos being ruthless as a manager, though, because he was always very quiet and kind of studious type, even though he was a beast on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I think you do need to have a degree of ruthlessness to stay at the top that long.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. All the critics Carrick's had, but he's been at the club 10 years and it's been a really, really, really fine career for United.
Yeah, I mean, I have doubts about how useful he's going to be next season, but I guess given who's going to leave this summer, there's no real harm in giving him another year.
Hey, I mean, you said he was going to have his
Neville
I didn't.
moment.
Yes, you did.
That was just for the WhatsApp, Ed, just for the WhatsApp.
No, you didn't say off the record, so, I fair quoting. You said he's going to have his Neville moment. Having watched Neville in that testimonial, I mean, Neville had his own Neville moment.
Unbelievable. You can't bring the WhatsApp onto the show. That's one of the golden rules. The WhatsApp is sacred.
Okay, is that the rule now? It's all off the record.
At Will,
what happens on WhatsApp stays on WhatsApp.
At Will Robinson 97 says, has Marcus Rashford overtaken Danny Welbeck yet as your favourite United number 19? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Do we already have enough for the number 10 role, says at Stierge, Matty from Belgium, who says it was very helpful to me when I had to write stuff about Club Brugge a long time ago. Mata, Mkhitaryan and Andres Pereira all more than able to play there. And Rashford even can...
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think actually this season we've seen a lot of Rashford's all-round game. I mean, he wasn't really a number 9 any youth level until sort of later in his youth career. So... sure, yes, logically. I don't think in Mourinho's mind, though. Yes, Mkhitaryan, Mata, Pereira, not sure that's going to happen. Others could play that. I think Mourinho wouldn't be going after Antoine Griezmann if he was totally happy with the options he's got.
Adam at 50/50 says, which United player has the most impressive trophy haul? Quantity, assortment, or Premier League titles the most important? Listen, the answer to...
got to be Ryan Giggs,
exactly. He has all of them, all the trophies and the most of them. 2 Champions Leagues, 13 Premier League titles, a load of FA Cups. It's Giggs by miles.
Hasn't got a Europa League, though, has he?
Michael Carrick. It was lovely seeing the FA Cup and the Europa League sat on the table of trophies that Carrick had won. It was good that FA Cup got in there particularly. Which player and musical artist would you like to see revealed on United's social media accounts in August? Also, have a lovely summer, says at Cryptic Android. Thanks, June. I would like to see... I don't know, it was Griezmann. Like, now, I just don't care about who we sign now. I don't care about any of them. I'm sure I'll learn to love them, but none of them are my cousin Antoine. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Musical artists. I don't know, I'd quite like to see Juan Mata on tour with David Gilmour or something.
And he probably would do it as well.
Yeah. And just a question that's just got in under the wire before we stop recording. Andrew Hardiman at Hey Hardiman. Diego Costa, would you sign him? Cough, Ed. We've made your feelings abundantly clear about that, haven't you, already? So I guess that's it, right?
It is for another season. What are the plans for the pod over the summer? We're going to do a few interviews now and again and put those up on the feed.
Yeah, we're going to do a few interviews. We're also going to... I mean, should we say we'll touch base a couple of times during the summer? Yeah, we've never done that before, but...
Touch base. You actually said that. Those words actually came out of your mouth.
That's all right, isn't it? That's all right.
Not touching my base, mate.
Come on. But yeah, so it'd be...
Will we be thinking outside of the box? I'd like some blue sky touching base.
I don't put touch base in that category. Maybe I should. Maybe I've been wrong all these years. Is touch base that kind of awful management speak to you, Ed?
No, I honestly, I hear all of that all of the time.
You've got to synergistically approach this situation with some blue sky thinking. Yeah. All right. So projecting forward to the summer. Yeah, we'll do some stuff. I've got one interview lined up already, which will hopefully come out in a week or so, or a week or two. And then I'll try and do some more in the summer, and we'll speak in a few weeks' time. Not like every week or anything, but we'll make sure your Rantcast feeds aren't empty over the summer.
Very good. And it's been a pleasure getting all your questions this season, even if you didn't vote for me in the crucial poll that was being held today on who should do the intro.
Yeah, but I was advocating pretty hard for a strong pro-Tom platform,
so was I. Voted for him.
Yeah, there you go. See. So, and by the way, it wouldn't be an end-of-season show if we did not thank from the bottom of our hearts producer Tom, without whom this show would definitely not exist. So massive thanks. Oh, talking of Rantcast summer plans, summer meet-up.
Aye. We must do it.
Before you go away, we've got to do it. We've promised the people, Ed.
Promised the people, and we must deliver.
And talking of promised the people, we've promised some of the people some bonus content, so we better get on with recording that. Everyone else will speak to you in a couple of weeks. And if you take a break from the Rantcast for the summer, have a lovely summer.
See you.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.